practices of the venture capital and entrepreneurial community. So we are here to stop that, and we are here to be intentional and move things forward. Less than 1% of all venture capital goes to Hispanic-led companies. That's the 1%. That's not a whole lot. And in addition, if you look at the venture capital industry, it's well known that people invest in people like themselves. So you'd think, well, are there a bunch of Hispanics in VC firms? And the answer is no. Fewer than 4% of all employees of VC firms are Hispanic. And guess how many of those 4% are the partners? Less than 1% are the partners. So you see where this is all coming from, right? So when we have a lack of diversity, we have a lack of opportunity, we're missing out on these markets, it's not a good thing. There's tons of study when we look at diversity in funds that do invest diversely, they outperform the monocultures by huge percentages. So intentionality is the key word that we want to bring to this event and that we want to bring to bringing Hispanics, women, blacks, underrepresented communities to venture capital. So that is why we brought this event together, because you can do things, you can just say, oh, we're going to favor women, or we're going to favor Hispanics, or we're going to favor blacks, but if you're not intentional and not reaching out to the community, it is not going to happen on its own. So that's what this is about, is sort of trying to jumpstart it. And James will come up in a sec, but he's been doing this for quite a while now with Hispanics in Tech Meetup, and we want to keep doing this with the investment community ongoing. So here's the deal. With regard to intentionality, of VC firms who actually employ a human capital strategy and who are intentional, they have 54% of employees who are women or minorities. Those who don't have any sort of strategy whatsoever are 41%. So this is the 13% difference that intentionality can bring. We can start to jumpstart the change within our organizations just by being intentional. So with that, I just want to say I'm going to pass this on to James, and he will, oh no, I'm not going to pass it on to you. I'm going to first talk about Rockies Venture Club a little bit. Then we got some other things. Yeah. So here's our presenting companies tonight: Jujo Tech, WeGo, Trips,
Woohoo!
Free Range.
Let's help these guys out.
I gotta load this place. Okay. All right. So here's the way this is gonna work. Thank you to Jackie and Kamsa Champa. Couldn't do these things without this space. And also to all of our sponsors tonight, Brownstein.
Please raise your hand if we're here from these firms. Brownstein.
Integration Works. Patrice Wines.
Victor X.
Venture X. And American Facility Services Group. Okay, so thanks to all these. Excuse me?
We had a couple of people get sick today.
They got sick before the event. How about that?
Jerry went down hard.
And to Rockies Impact Fund and Rockies Venture Club, who are also sponsoring this event. So, how many of you have been to a Rockies Venture Club event in the past? Okay, pretty good. So those of you who don't know, Rockies Venture Club is a nonprofit organization, and we are the oldest angel investing group in the country. We have been doing this consistently since 1985. So we bring a lot of stuff together, and as a nonprofit, our mission is to further economic development in the state of Colorado by educating and connecting entrepreneurs and angels, and putting them together in events like this. And I'll just say, everybody thinks that it's just the entrepreneurs who need some educating. Believe me, the angels need educating too, and that is a huge part of our mission, to bring everybody together. So some things here, we've got, RBC does a lot of things. We've got the Rockies Venture Institute, and Barbara Bowers, the executive director, here for that. I just love this Barbara Bauer part, because the next thing is WIN, which is the Women's Investor Network. Barbara Bauer. And just by the way, Barbara's doing for women what we're doing for Hispanic Hispanics tonight. She's being intentional, bringing more women investors into the program, and we've got about 50% of our portfolio now are women-led companies. So Rockies Venture Fund is investing along with us in Colorado companies, Rockies Impact Fund, and then we have chapters throughout Colorado, and we are on a road trip every single month doing the hard work of bringing these deals to angels. We are also syndicating Colorado deals throughout the USA through a syndication network. So we are here to bring in out-of-state money and put Colorado on the map. We have a ton of events. RBC does 140 events per year. We are event machines. So this is just one of, there's 139 others. If you're excited about this, we got plenty more coming up. These are just a few examples. If you are an accredited investor with a net worth of $1 million or more, or income of $200,000 or more, 300 for married couple, we invite you to come to a one of our angel investing events. If not, RBC Summer Bid Fest, August 13th is coming up, and that is a fun event right down the street on Market Street. Oh, and also, if you were thinking of becoming an angel, we got the Angel Accelerator coming up August 21, and this is where we teach angels how to be smart angels and invest in great Colorado companies. We are now, this week, doing the Impact Hyper Accelerator. This is of social and environmental impact companies, companies that are doing good while also growing and scaling. We're working with these companies all week, and next Monday at the SBEC on Market Street, we will be having a demo day, and you are all invited. It's a free event and lots of fun if you just can't get enough pitches tonight. RBC team, we have Dave Harris in the back, COO and Chief Runs, Barbara, we've already talked about her, and Kevin. Kevin is awesome. So you're thinking, Peter, this is awesome. I have never heard of all this. How do I get involved? Well, that is a great question. Thank you for asking. You could become a member. RBC members have access to all of these things for free or reduced prices throughout the year. We've got workshops, events, we've got conferences. We've got the Colorado Capital Conference coming up in November, the Angel Capital Summit in March. You become an angel investor. If you want to pitch, just like these companies did today, you can go to rockiesventureclub.org/pitch, fill out a profile, and we would love to have you come through our process. Or if you are got experience in business, you could become a mentor and help some of those companies along. We've got a great community all engaged in helping this process occur. So, for the companies who are pitching tonight, they're presenting purely for entertainment and investment discussions and decisions made only through the angel group discussions about the event the right investor focus groups on these after presenters. However, the presentations here today know that the projects are not endorsed by us nor developed by public sector names of the presentations. All right, so now, with that, I can turn this over to James, who will say a few words. Oops, right? You can go back and you can say these things. Here you go.
So, thank you for coming. My name is James Foy. I'm the founder of Hispanics in Tech. Let me take a sideline. There's people in here I need to recognize. So, real quickly, raise your hands. Sis, Pam. I want to thank my Craig, a lot of the judges, you're my personal friends. I want to recognize one person specifically. Without him, we are not here. Pedro, please raise your hand. Help me thank Pedro. A little bit over a year ago, I founded Hispanics in Technology. You may look at me and say, what's this white boy doing? My family came here 100 years ago to the state. We were working the fields. My mother's a Franco Gallegos. I was raised with my Mexican family. That's all I knew growing up. My grandfather made sure I knew that. What does it mean? I mean, I was raised by a generation where I had a great uncle who was a Nazi a POW with the Nazis World War II. I had another great uncle, 101st Airborne World War II. He came back here to Colorado. In my hometown, after serving, after going through hell, he faced no dogs, no Mexicans. We talk about redlining, our history here. In Lamar, there's the north side, like 5 points here. We talk about segregated schools. My mom's generation went to segregated schools. That is alive and well. What does it mean really? I'll give you two examples of why it's changing. One, my late cousin, Ben Franco. Ben Franco, my mom's generation, became chief of police in a redneck town in 1985. Served 50 years in law enforcement. You think he didn't face it? But trust me, everybody respected him. Everybody liked him. My late uncle, Gabe Franco, served in Vietnam, Purple Heart. Went on to work for State Farm. He was on State Farm national commercials, did incredibly well, till his demons caught him. We know where we're coming from. We got a history. We owe it to ourselves as Latinos, as people of color, as people, period, to know our history and why we're here. In reality, what's happening right now, if you look at in Colorado, Latinos as Hispanics as we're 20+% of the population, we're 7% of the overall community. This has economic consequences. This has incarceration and everything. Why did I found Hispanics in tech? We got a history to pay back. I'm nobody without the people that got me here. I'm nobody without my family. I'm nobody with people like Sis, Sandy, friends, Greg around here. I'm nobody. I know I have an obligation to give back. And I know in our culture, that is the basis of it. What does this mean moving forward? We're creating an intentional community where we're here to support, like myself. How many of us have been in a group as the only, I apologize to the Anglo people in this room ahead of time on this comment. How many times have we been in a group where it's like, there's nobody like us. We can't be our crazy selves at times. This group is a place for you to come. This group is a place for you to feel connected. We have a couple examples of where people came to our group, we helped them find jobs. We supported them throughout the process. Thank you again for coming. Now, kind of want to move to the prizes. Ms. Sandy Mays donated $1,000 of her money to the winning team. Yep, I'm going to munch it. Dear friend of mine, been a complete supporter. Yev had a vacation plan. She's a first-generation Russian immigrant, Oxford-educated lawyer. We stand on her shoulders. I wish she was here. The Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, apologize they weren't able to make it. They donated a bunch of tickets to Sabor. If you've not been to Sabor, it's at the Botanic Gardens. It's fun. You go, you drink, you got energy, all the craziness that goes on. I need to, Mr. Michael Patton, raise your hand. Where are you at? He runs a very fantastic Denver South-based co-working space. He's donated a bunch of his services. Also, that's for the top prize. In each team, you will get 2 tickets to support, as well as some time in Venture X. Now, I would actually like to introduce Greg Nieto, from KDVR Channel 2, our MC, to take over. Thank you, Greg.
For those who don't know James or didn't know him before tonight, this guy has more energy than most people that I run into or interview, and what you see right now is what you get 24/7. So you guys are lucky to have him because he obviously is, along with Peter and some of the folks that have been mentioned, without these guys we wouldn't be standing here tonight. But as James mentioned, and Peter, I do work with Channel 2 and Fox, and James has been talking about this event for a long time. We actually had a photographer here earlier grabbing a little bit of video and a soundbite. This won't affect the judges, I hope, but apparently interviewed Wigo Trips. So that may be on tonight, but hopefully that won't influence the vote later on tonight. I was actually talking to a couple of guys here just as I walked in with Uniter, is that correct? Yep, from NYC, and I was asking them, any tips when pitching. And it's kind of relevant to the news business. He says clarity and simplicity are the keys. So take that to heart when you're doing your pitching later on tonight. I guess I want to introduce some of the speakers. My introductions will be brief so they can have as much time as they would like. First on my list says, as James mentioned, Sandy Mays, EVP, Chief Customer Experience Officer, and CIO at Zayo. When I read a LinkedIn, I don't know how many people are on LinkedIn. how effective you find it, but I get the same sort of feedback when someone reads my LinkedIn profile, regardless of what industry you're in. I just think it's such a great marketing connection tool. But regardless, when I was reading up on some of these folks over the past couple of days, certain things stand out, and I realized the relevancy to this event. But things that go much deeper than that. I noticed with your LinkedIn page, experience also includes some work as a chief of staff. But what really pops to me is, as Peter and James mentioned, the giving back factor, and you mentor, correct? And I just think it's awesome. We have so many brilliant minds in here, people who've gone so far in their careers, but you know, where did you come from? How do you give back? How do you pass along the knowledge that you received to the next generation? So with that, I'd like to introduce Sandy. If you want to come here briefly to say a few words. If you have words prepared, if you don't, you can always come.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. It's such an honor to be here with James brought me here, but it's such an honor to be here with the Hispanic community. You mentioned giving back. 2 years ago, I joined the board of Latino Leadership Institute over at DU, and it's such an opportunity to progress Hispanics into the community. So if any of you are interested in learning more about that, please let me know. Fantastic program. So like you, I'm a founder of a company that started with 4 humans in 2006. So if you read the papers, it'll say 2007 and what that's important. It's in 2007, MSN Magazine named us the most successful startup in the world, right here out of Boulder, Colorado, which is pretty cool. And so what do we do? In just one sentence, our fiber fuels global innovation. So what do we mean about fiber? You think about back in the early 1800s, how you had all of these towns spring up, where they were producing minerals, they were producing things that had to ship all over the world. Well, until trains came along, or train tracks more specifically came along, the only way to get things from place to place was the mule or the stagecoach. It was pretty ineffective. And then they saw a need to transport those goods and services via train tracks. We do the same thing, but our goods and services are data. How many of you own a smartphone? How many of you own a BlackBerry? He's not Canadian, which I want to show. But really, we all are transporting data all the time. We have smart devices. The new autonomous vehicles are going to take the equivalent of 400 iPhones. How many of you have been stopped in traffic and you're like, oh, I'm just sitting here, I'm going to get on my phone and it doesn't work? Guess what? Right after 36 broke, everyone was stuck in traffic. That was a bad thing. But if you think about the future, and you think how important things are, like cars travel, you think about people doing surgeries. So my cousin does pancreatic surgery at University of Chicago. She's the first, or she's the leader in robotic pancreatic surgery. The goal is that in 10 years, she can do surgery anywhere in the world from Chicago. You only do that through connectivity. So that's what my company does, and it's really exciting. So we started with $2 million and 4 people in 2007. And if you follow the news in Colorado, we just sold for $14.3 billion. So there is a dream, there is a message in all of that. But my goal, my personal goal, after being in business for so long, is to give back. So I do judge and venture challenges all over the world, which is really fun. And you get to see the excitement of startups. And the reason that I'm giving a cash prize is this is just a gift. There's no strings. I don't want 25% equity like Shark Tank. It's really about how do we, as Hispanics, give back to the people in our community.
How much did the company sell for?
$14.3 billion.
Majored in the wrong career in college, apparently.
You should be an angel investor with REC.
Again, Sandy Meza, next gentleman I'd like to bring up, Mr. Tim Martinez. Global innovation and entrepreneurism, but currently, perhaps most importantly, manager of global business development. Today was a big day in the city. If you happen to be downtown, the mayor and re-upping for another term. So a big day for the city, but I guess as I bring Tim up here, I'm just kind of curious about the current state here in the city as it applies to what we're dealing with today. I'm very curious as someone from looking at it from the outside in, the report card, if you will.
So the report card on the election party? Are we still talking about the election party? Okay. So, yes, my name is Tim Martinez. I do work for the city of Denver. I've been with the city now for about 15 years, which is a lot longer than I ever thought I'd be in government. So, I'm still here. I'm on my third or fourth mayor, and I am here to help give back. And so I am super excited to see something like Hispanics in tech really get some legs and get some opportunity to move forward. I started my career with the city of Denver. Well, going even further back, I've got 3 boys. They're 5th generation Colorado, so we've been here for a long time. I've gone to CSU, so I've spent a majority of my life here in Denver. With that, about 20-something years ago, U.S.-Mexico Chamber of Commerce was started here in Denver. If you know Gil Cisneros, I had just lived in Mexico for about 9 months. He called me up and said, Tim, I'm starting this chapter of the U.S.-Mexico Chamber of Commerce in Denver, and I think you'd be a great executive director. So I was like, okay, Gil, I'll come work for you. I went into the office, I sat down at the desk. He threw down a phone book and said, I've got to go to Mexico City, see if you can recruit some members. So that was my start in really trying to work with the Mexican U.S. business community as we go back and forth. Most recently, though, with the global business development team that the mayor started last August is really why I wanted to come in here and just talk a little bit about what we're doing. This new team is really trying to make Denver a more globally relevant city. A few years ago, Brookings Institution released a report where they talked about the most globally relevant cities in the world. And obviously London and Paris and New York were very high up there. But they released that report from Denver because when they looked, they were amazed at how high Denver was up on that chart. And they were saying at the time that Denver was punching above our weight class. And so we were trying to figure out, well, what does that mean? And what does that mean for our economy? And how do we take advantage of that and utilize it? And so moving at the speed of government, about 3 years later, we were able to launch this new team with 3 people to really work on that relevancy and what that means. And so for me in particular, I was the original city representative to help launch the Commons on Champa. And so if you're not familiar with this space, you really should learn more about what we're trying to do out of this. Giving free access to innovation and entrepreneurism, free Wi-Fi, free coffee. Jackie and Caitlin are doing a great job here. And so I've been in that innovation space. And what I want to do is really work with the city of Denver and other countries around the world to exchange what we have going. So what's happening in Denver, you know that we've got a good tech ecosystem, but we're looking around the world to figure out what other cities have similar ecosystems like Denver and how do we have our companies expand into those cities and have those companies expand into Denver. So I've been actively traveling. I just got back from London, going to Guadalajara here in a couple of weeks. And the idea is to find companies that are doing things that are really cool and bring them to Denver and help them launch their expansion plans in the United States out of Denver and out of the Commons on Champa. So that's a program that we call the City to City program. It's up and running. We just had a company, Monique Dyer and Inside Energy, she went down to the Common to Guadalajara, and they set her up with 7 meetings in 2 days, and we think that she's going to walk out with 3 contracts. So there is an opportunity for companies that are in Denver that are looking to expand overseas to use the city to help make that happen. So feel free to approach me at some point if there's something that you think we can do to help out. One last thing before I go, you guys all know about Denver Startup Week. It's going to be coming in September on the 16th through the 20th. Well, out of the Commons on Champa, we're doing, for the first time ever, something that we're calling the Global Landing Pad. And this is an opportunity that we've invited companies from all over the world to come into Denver and land at the same time. So we put an application process out to companies all over the world. We've had 9 companies, 4 countries that are going to be based out of the Commons for 9 days straight. They'll graduate on Friday the 13th and roll in the 16th on November start. So there's a lot of opportunities. If you guys want to get more engaged, I think the opportunities are there. So please feel free to approach us. There's a lot of things that the mayor, who's at his party right now, would want me to talk about as far as what the city's doing to help really diversify and make the city more inclusive. But obviously, I'll let him talk about that at some other point. We do have Liz Ojeda here that works on the workforce side. We also have the business with the state of Colorado, who's doing a lot of Colorado aspects of development. The city and the state governments are here to help. Just let us know what we can do. And like any good agency, we're here to help.
Can you take a few questions? Does anybody have any questions real quick?
So you're saying, I mean, punching above our weight class, we kind of explained it a little bit, but I think from the outside looking in Denver, I know we're growing, but it's impressive to know that we have that reach across the globe. Can you attribute some of the attributable factors why we're punching above our weight class?
So the question is, why is the city of Denver punching above our weight class when it's talking about global relevancy? I think a lot of it has to do with things like the infrastructure that our previous governments have put in place, that our previous voters would like to do. If you look at the airport, you look at the performing arts center, you look at the convention center, you look at putting all of the sports facilities right downtown, really building a strong central business district makes it possible then to trickle out into the suburbs. So I think a lot of that has to do with previous investments and then looking at how do you diversify your economy out of just oil and gas and look at technology, you look at clean energy, you look at aerospace, and you build an economy around those things.
You have questions?
You had the same question.
What was your question, please?
I was just gonna, grab your business card.
Oh, sure.
Thanks.
So thanks for letting me crash your party. It sounds like a great event tonight. Look forward to seeing the pitches. So.
Here, I know we're waiting on Mike, so you want me just to introduce the judges?
Just jump in. Just go ahead and jump in.
Yeah, I'll just introduce the judges here, and I'll keep it as an introduction in case Mike shows up here. You had, I guess, from my right to left, we'll start off with Sandy here. Sandy Mays, again, EVP, Chief Customer Experience Officer, and CIO at Zayo. You just heard from her. Judge number one. Judge number two, Paul, I did get your one-line intro earlier today or yesterday, I think, over the weekend. But Paul Foley, co-founder and CEO of Smart Capital. Next to Sandy. And then next to Paul, we have John Dominguez, partner, Bridge Haven, former managing director of Silicon Valley Bank. Thanks for being here. And I guess Chris with BlackBerry, is that right? Chris Murray.
That's a new tagline.
Big part of your profile. Chris Murray, shareholder, Brownstein, Hyatt, Farber, and Shrek. Peter, do you want me to wait on Mike, or do we want to get going with everything here? I mean, I don't know how much longer you're going to wait on. Okay. So Peter, I'll bring you back up and get this party started, right?
All right. Let's hear it for you, Greg. Thanks so much. Okay, so just a little bit so you understand what your job is here today. As the audience, you'll be watching these pitches, and then these four illustrious judges will be asking questions. And if they run out of questions, then you can jump in as well. But we've got 5-minute pitches and 5 minutes of Q&A for each of the companies. And we'll be timing them. We'll let them know when their time is up. If they go a little bit over, what that means is less time for Q&A. So that's the rules, right? You know how that works. And you guys are going to be ranking these companies 1 to 4. Right? That's the role. And you saw the fabulous prizes available, so there's a lot at stake with these pitches. Not to mention the fame and fortune and press releases and all of these fabulous things that will be coming out. So we are going to start with Jackie from We Go Trips. There she is. So I will cue up your deck, and Jackie will talk about a fabulous travel app that connects people through trips.
Hey, one round of applause. Let's really provide the energy. Let's take the best.
Hi, I'm Jackie McCarthy, co-founder and CEO at Video Trucks. Since 2011, I have been creating communities, starting with Where's the Party At? And the Women's Empowerment community, then the Trade for Service community. It was in the Trade for Service community where I would learn how to monetize the community by creating fashion photo shoots that I would post on there, and other members would want to join me. Where other members wanted to join me. The first event was so successful that I had to start charging them for all the others. But the big game changer was when the other members started creating their own events and posting them on the community. This started a network effect, and an ecosystem was established. And suddenly, the Trade for Service community became the place to go to build your fashion portfolio. The big pivot was when demand for my services started to increase, and I started hosting international group workshops. Again, the other members saw what I was doing and created their own. And suddenly I saw a compelling opportunity to transition from fashion over to travel and create Video Trips, a community-driven marketplace for shared group trips, a place where travelers can connect in a marketplace that would allow anyone to create their own group trips and share them with others. A one-stop solution that would empower anyone to become their own entrepreneur and travel for a living or just for fun. Unlike the Trade for Service community, we would actually monetize on our members' transactions by charging a listing fee onto their transactions. With 58% of millennials spending $145 billion a year on shared group travel, the addressable market for video is huge. And with millennials already familiarized with hopping into strangers' cars, crashing on their couches, and finding their significant others on dating apps, they don't really have stranger danger. And on average, spending $3,000 a year on 2.5 trips, they make the perfect target audience for video trips. We launched on January 26th this year and have already grown to 1,000 members on our platform, with 37 trip organizers and 80 paying customers. Communities such as Meetup.com and Couchsurfing have united tens of millions of travelers, and travel companies such as Tiki and G Adventures have serviced several millions. The cool thing about these competitors, though, is that they can utilize the WeGo platform as a powerful marketing tool to offer their services to our customers. First, we started with our ambassadors, who are similar to real estate agents in that they create their own business and earn commission. Next, we'll move on to influencers to help us scale our product. And finally, we'll work with brands and events to help us make our company attractive for potential buyers. My educational background, I have a BA in business management, human relations, and master's studies in organizational development, which I ended up dropping to pursue a certificate in entrepreneurship from the Wharton School. My co-founder, Adam, has a bachelor's degree in aerospace engineering and master's study in aerospace engineering and computational science from Purdue and Georgia Tech. Helping us along are our advisors who bring in their expertise in marketing, finance, and travel, along with our ambassadors who are leading the way for creating a new way to work. Done properly, Vigo has the opportunity to create something that will astronomically scale and impact people in a way that will positively enrich their lives. With your help, we'll be able to drive our brand awareness, accelerate our growth, formalize our team, and achieve our milestones through the spring of 2021 when we start our first round. And this is what our customers have to say about us. That's the presentation.
Questions? Can you talk about how the social network works? Is it like a dating site where you match people, or
social marketplace. The social part of it is huge. So our members can interact with each other, unlike Airbnb that doesn't connect you with anyone. So anyone can create friendships on there, connect with each other, chat during, before, or after the trips. We're working on putting algorithms on there that match people based on their travel styles as well as their personalities. So we are going to be similar to a dating service in that end, but we're not dating. Yes.
Jackie, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, the question was, are we similar to a dating app in the sense that we connect people?
So great job. Real quick though, so how would I become an ambassador? How would I do that?
So ambassadors have to apply through our website, and then they have to pass a background check to prove that they're able to curate their own kind of unique trips. Then they pay to go on a trip and actually experience it before hosting it.
So the ambassador create their own experience?
Yes.
Like from scratch?
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of them book Airbnbs, or some of them have like their own accommodations, or they know somebody, or have a boat, and they'll create trips.
And you have 80 paying customers, how much revenue is that?
Yeah, so we have 80 paying customers who spent about $20,000.
Nice. And how much do you take of the 20,000?
8%.
8%, cool.
Brian, it works. So right now, is there any screening on the type of trip that you've got somebody who's a trip organizer? Are there any minimum requirements? Like, is there any quality control on what kind of trip somebody could organize?
So on our ambassador trips, sorry, the question was, is there any quality control on the trips that are showing off our platform? On our ambassador-led trips, there are, because we give them our stamp of approval, but any member can create any trip that they want, and those don't have our stamp of approval. So we only have 20 ambassadors, yet we have 37 trip organizers. So 17 of our members have organically on their own created trips.
So who are your competitors in this space?
Yeah, Meetup.com would be one. So that has about 9 million travelers on there interacting with each other, but they don't provide them with the tools to monetize their travel service. We'll have like Kentucky and G Adventures, who also curate company-created group trips. They don't vet out their customers. They just kind of, if you want to go on this trip, you're going to be on this trip. So you don't know who you're going to travel with before you go. Those companies, though, they can utilize the WeGo platform to market their services to our customers. So the larger we grow, the more of a marketplace we have, the more attractive we become to them.
So you have like around 1,000 members? And
Yes.
How are they currently finding you, and then with the 500
So right now, our members have found us, oddly enough, on Tinder and other places. Well, so it's like 43% of dating app members actually use dating apps to find people while traveling, which was interesting. But then Tinder came out with this thing and then blocked the access to Instagram. Anyway, so we weren't able to utilize that anymore. And then we posted a job posting on Indeed.com, which attracted 564 applicants to the ambassador position. I interviewed 130 of them and narrowed it down. Other things that we were doing is just posting on social media and then getting in front of the ambassadors in publications, just in front of them. And then our ambassadors, they're like travel agents, so they have to build their own business, and they went out and found other members to go travel with them.
During your presentation, you showed a chart for the, and I know it's probably rough, anticipated phases of growth of the company. I don't need to see it again, but I wanted to know, have you guys modeled, right, what your anticipated growth is, and what's your growth now, and is it tracking what your projections are?
It's tracking the projections. So other strategies that we're going to be doing is a lot of influencer campaigns, and we want to grow our ambassador base. So it'll change what we're tracking right now just by bringing in that novelty. Every single time we create a trip, we get a spike on app members that download the app. The influencer campaign, for every 1 million followers towards 2.5% of them, so that's about 25,000 potential app members. So to go back to your question, with that 500,000, a big portion of it is going to go into that.
Right.
Thank you very much.
WeGo Trips, I already added it here on my app. Group travel just got a little sweeter, is that the right one? I want to introduce one more speaker before we continue here. That was a great first presentation. Not speaking for the judges, but good stuff, learned a lot. This next gentleman, I think I can call Mike a gentleman. I've known him actually quite a few years. There are a lot of folks in the city I can say that about, that we started off on a certain level, and some of us have risen to the top a lot quicker than others. But known Michael Ferrafino for, geez, I've been here almost 20 years, and I think I first met you way back when it wasn't Sabor, it was some other event involving the Rockies or adult beverages. But Mike is president and CEO over at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Metro Denver. At one point, you may remember if you've been in Denver any amount of time, vice president over at KBNO Radio. I know he's a busy man, and we're grateful that he allowed some time in his busy schedule to join us this evening. But again, Michael Ferrafino.
Thank you, Greg. I think that Holly Hurst had something to do with this, basically, adult beverages at many times. But, I wish I could say that I was late because I have 3 children, and 11-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 2-year-old. The 2-year-old refuses to call me by my given title as Dad. She just calls me by my first name, Mike. The 8-year-old continually basically reminds me that she is going to be smarter than me. And then the 11-year-old is this, blonde-haired, green-eyed Latino who speaks perfect Spanish, who my father thinks is going to be the next United States Senator. And I keep telling him that, one, Oscar wants to go be an engineer. He wants to be an electrical engineer. He wants to go to MIT. And he wants to study electrical engineering and then open up a company similar to Google. And then he wants to place it in Cleveland, all places. And people normally ask after they get over the great goal, why Cleveland? So LeBron James, he has lobbied our family to go through on some vacations to Cleveland. So it tells me a couple different things. On one side, my father's put his money in the wrong place. He needs to invest his money on the granddaughters. The 8-year-old basically goes to career day as an attorney, and the 2.5-year-old, we went to parent-teacher conferences, which I didn't realize they had. And I expected that we were going to stop by and just talk about how she eats, how she sleeps, and how she plays with others. So I really was hoping I would get out of this. And I went down and we sat, and we, had a quiet pause, and then we talked about how she eats, how she sleeps, and how she plays with her friends, which are all good. And then our teachers looked at us for a moment and said, well, we should maybe tell you about a nickname we have for her. We call her Maya the President, because she wanders around and actually just knows every single child, every parent, every teacher in the classroom. So, we've got to place our money on the right horses at some point. But, at any rate, what I'm trying to do as well is really thinking about how do I make sure that my daughters actually, as Hispanic girls, think about the opportunity to be able to go through and get engaged in the sciences, and get engaged in engineering, and get engaged basically in this kind of world we call STEM. And, I was reminded about this TV, well, it wasn't a TV commercial, it was a little bit more of a TV presentation that I saw as a child. And it was a gentleman who was much older, was standing in front of a bunch of maps and architectural drawings, and he was talking about how he had just purchased, 4,000 acres down in Florida swampland at some point, double the size of Manhattan Island, and he was going to create something he was calling the experimental prototype community of development. And what stuck with me was the idea that he said, all of this are our plans today, but this all may change. And it will change, and it's going to change multiple times. But the one thing that will stay the same is going to be the philosophy that was not. And so, as I grappled with this idea, and when my mother explained to me that gentleman had actually passed away when I was watching, and I found this disconnect in terms of watching what I thought was live television, but really was recorded. You know, and this gentleman that I was watching was Walt Disney, and the experimental prototype community of Tamaya, he was talking about, was called Epcot Center. And as we know, it has changed multiple times. But there is that similar, basically, constant of the philosophy is stay the same. Now, the reason I was late was not because of my kids. I was down at the inaugural event for the mayor. And so, also, too, I think it's very relevant. I ran into Federico Pena, and I remember as a small child, when he was standing not too far away from me, you know, when Denver took a chance, long before the Latino vote was in vogue. You know, in 1982, on a short Coke bottle glass, you know, a labor attorney with bushy hair, who they called Freddie and his Dreamers. And they really encouraged him at one point to be able to change his name. If he really wanted to be elected, you know, nobody's going to elect him Federico. You know, he stuck with him. But it was the point that he said, I can imagine a great city. And he laid the plans and the groundwork for the convention center and for DIA. And from a community perspective, he did imagine a great city. But I don't know if he could ever imagine that it would be what it is today. And then we think too, on this kind of inaugural day, 8 years ago, Mayor Hancock took office when we had President Barack Obama serving basically as the leader of our country. And I don't think, once again, Mayor Hancock ever thought that 8 years later he would have to have a press conference standing up and saying, you know, I am going to basically stand up to the federal government. Because there are certain things, integrity and values that we hold as a city and community that we will not allow to be able to take place. So there is this constant of philosophy that we go through and see through. The creation of community, the creation of product, the creation of concept that I think is important. And the adaptability to be able to change and pivot. Oftentimes working with minority entrepreneurs, you know, I try to talk about this idea that the Denver Startup Week, for all its great glory, is sometimes different. We have this bustling entrepreneurship and community, but sometimes it's not driven out of basically the opportunity to roll the dice and see who can make $30 million. It's driven out of vision. It's driven basically out of desire, out of the simplicity of this country supplies a model and a system that if you work hard, if you've got a great idea, despite the color of your skin, despite basically the accent, your gender, your religion, and how well you speak English or not, but if you put the work, if you do everything by this concept of integrity, which I define to my kids, it simply is do the right thing when other people don't. You know, things will work out. Now, for you as people thinking about creating, and for others thinking about investing, you know, part of what I do on a daily basis is describe the beauty and the opportunity in the Hispanic market. So on one side, it's being able to talk about the experiences of entrepreneurs that is different than maybe somebody else. And sometimes it's the psychology. You know, we're talking about, you know, and becoming a little bit more aware of this idea of like entrepreneurship depression, like what happens when things don't work, right? Which is a whole new area. You know, but we've got to be able to go through a pivot. And I think that opportunity when we think about equity, and if everybody's seen that video, I think it's called the, I don't know, like the equity race, where somebody basically online went through and said, listen, here are 100 kids, you know, and we're going to do a race. And they were all kids of all color and gender. And we're going to go through and throw, you know, whoever wins gets $1,000. You know, but before we start, I'm going to ask some questions, and if these apply to you, I want you to take 2 steps forward. Okay? Somebody asks to say, like, hey, your parents still together? Whatever, take 2 steps forward. You know? Do you have to pay for your, you know, somebody else paid for your school? It's not an athletic scholarship. You know? But what it ultimately did was you saw that a lot of the children of color were basically stood back, you know, at the start line, right? And so it was this idea of privilege and opportunity that despite anything we did or didn't do, sometimes we need to be able to be aware that things are not equitable. But that doesn't mean we can't do it. That means sometimes the window's a little smaller, right? And we gotta thread the needle a little bit better. But we also have to be willing to be able to pivot too. That we can't go into this thinking there's this burden of expectation on our shoulders and that we don't make it. Because we hear the greatest success stories are those that were able to go through and kind of rise from these ashes of failure. You know, and what is that classic out of Thomas Edison quote? Basically, I didn't find 10,000 ways to fail, which is a great light bulb. I found 10,000 ways to not make it. You know, but it's this idea of being able to go through and understand that they learn more from success. You know, I'm sorry, from failure than from success. And so, for you here tonight, and for the investors too, the other piece is this opportunity to stand up. You know, The statistics I looked at earlier on are amazing, but they're actually slightly off. So the $1.4 trillion you saw basically in the slide presentation, is 1.7. It is $1.7 trillion United States market, Hispanic by now. Okay. Now the GDP of the United States Hispanic market is $2.4 trillion. And to try to put that in context, because sometimes we talk about these big numbers, and we don't really understand exactly how many zeros are attached to it. $2.4 trillion is larger than the entire Canadian economy. And if it was its own country, it would be ranked 5th in the world. Colorado is the 8th largest market in regard to Hispanics. And Denver is 35% Hispanic. And if we wonder where it goes, we don't have to go through a bunch of demographic research. We just have to look over at Denver Public School enrollment. And then it's close to 60%. So here we see the trajectory. And this is the same story we see throughout the country. Hispanics are going to be a massive piece of everybody's future consumer, everybody's future workforce, and everybody's future voter. So, from a business case perspective, it makes a great amount of sense for us to create for that market, and also for us to invest in that market, because it is less competitive. It is not basically as littered with so many different products. Whether it's a CRM, I haven't seen a CRM saying, listen, I'm a CRM specifically for Hispanic businesses. We know there are thousands for everybody else. So there is a tremendous opportunity if you can get it right here. Think about the tremendous opportunity there is on the other side of the border. Think about how big a market Mexico is in Central America, in South America. This is a tremendous opportunity for us to be able to go through and think about this idea of being able to go through and create these multinational products. It's not necessarily always the eye on the prize basically in the Far East. It's really thinking about the commonalities we have. I just sat down with President Fox not too long ago. We talked about, the idea and sometimes the folly associated with sometimes, our current trade policies. That 7 years ago, we were basically thinking about the U.S. car economy and car market, on its knees. And us as taxpayers went through basically kind of supplied a substantial amount of loan. But it was really this NAFTA concept that we needed to go through. This idea of working with Canada, United States, and Mexico, that we were able to kind of fall out of that. They're incredibly successful. So, with that, I will just say one last thing, that if you do find yourself with that door of opportunity open, whether it's hard work, gift, inheritance, or sometimes just dumb luck, let's try to make sure that we leave that open for those who come after us. All right, thank you very much.
Good stuff. My United guys, clarity and simplicity, right? We're going with that, I think, the next 3 pitches, right? No, Peter, I guess I'll bring you back up here and we'll introduce the next contestant.
All right, thanks, Mike. That was awesome. Back to pitches, changing it a little bit. All right, ready? We are going to have Raphael come up from Juju Tech, and this is a cool company. If you want to see VR at work and a company that's got great traction in the industry, this is the company to watch. And here's our program. So I'm going to hand it over to Raphael, and you all can give him applause at this time.
Good afternoon. Buenas tardes. Some Spanish that's it. Juju Tech is based in Boulder. And it's a company basically totally focused on productivity for and intelligence for the worker.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Better now. Okay, very good. So, what is a connected worker? A connected worker is a person that needs to understand, interface, and act in an action mode to field troubles, like fixing an equipment in the field, manufacturing problems, etc. And with that, you have to bring 3 things of intelligence. And those 3 things is the part that I'm going to slow down and and I'm gonna accelerate, are we are using augmented reality as an interface to actually recognize a piece of equipment, and that piece of equipment could have embedded intelligence called IoT or not. Second, I can call someone for help if I don't know the solution, and that is called communication. I can call a remote expert, remote assistant. And third, I can bring actionable workflow to what I'm doing. By the way, most millennials do not read a standard operating system. They are the YouTube generation, and you have to actually show them that via a video. And that's what we do. We bring multimedia and all of that together. The company is focused on software development, which is really an integrator. And we have 3 solutions that I just talked about. And the applications are field workers and all these other things. And by the way, we do all the software in 6 languages today. We will continue to do. The industry challenge is actually how do you integrate all these problems? How do I integrate workflow that is actionable, and by the way, hands-free and all post-command? That's also what we do. So the solution that we bring is that we are the only fully integrated hands-free solution for connected workers on a single app. And it's based on Android now, and it has tentacles on iOS and all that. It has the capability to do voice search. Think about this. A connected worker is wearing a tablet on their head that is able to bring all the actionable knowledge that I need on that instant. The industry adoption for AR. Who knows what AR is here? Okay. For those of you that do not know, AR is augmented reality. It is not Pokemon Go, even though Pokemon Go is augmented reality. But it's augmented reality as I identify equipment, situations, etc., and I can overlay on it. 50% of companies are already in early stage of this. Our business model is SaaS. You can see some pricing here, and you can see what the revenue mix is. Our business strategy, perhaps the most important slide that we have. We started actually with one customer. Today we have Honda as a customer. They use it in Ohio. They have actually a couple of facilities in Ohio and some in Alabama. We have Eagle Automation right here, based in Denver, with about 150 employees. It's oil and gas. I don't have time to go through all of them. What you can see is a diversified portfolio is growing in baby steps, but it's growing. And we have partnerships both on the right-hand side of us. RealWear is a smart headset maker. Vuzix is a public company as a smart head maker, a smart headset maker, etc. So we actually, our differentiation is all about actionable. That's what we do. Our go-to-market is very simple. We're very focused on 4 verticals. You can read what they are. We have a plan to expand to other verticals next year. If you look at our IP portfolio, I remember last time I talked to you, we had 1 patent granted, and that was the dance of the day. We now basically have 7, 1 granted, 1 allowed, and 5 provisionals, and you can read here where they belong. Funding, we raised about 1.1 million so far. We won an edit grant recently. Thank you to the edit team. We basically are planning an 8-3 round in October. We are planning to do a convertible note as a bridge loan between now and the end of the year, just to fulfill that. Here's a pro forma. Not important for this conversation. Great team. My partner, Antonio Gentile, is here. We have grown the team. 2 person to highlight here. We are pleased to have Francis Harvey. He gave us a favor actually. He sits on 15 boards, and he was the 19th Secretary of the Army. I think I'm almost out of time. In summary, we're continuing to hit our milestones. I think that's important. We have some potential acquirers. Our goal is to be acquired. Okay? So it could be 3, 4, 5 years out. Sayo is a good example of that. These are some of the awards we have received. And thank you very much. I think I'm out.
Woohoo! Any questions?
Good presentation. 2 quick questions. So you have the slide that shows where the market is.
Yes.
70% very early. So 41% not interested, or 30% are just testing. So we're early. So my 2 questions is, where is the really need to have use case here versus something that's going, it's interesting but not really a need to have? And then secondly, the patent.
Very good. I think that's an excellent question. First of all, most of the traction right now is actually in oil and gas manufacturing. Why is that? Because a field worker has now complexities with complex equipment. Meaning, the equipment now is not as mechanical as it was in the past. It's all now IoT driven. Behind the IoT, there is artificial intelligence, and it becomes too much complexity for a worker to know it all. So use cases, this is very good question. Let me go straight into Eagle Automation, Denver base. Actually, we learned a few things from them, from use cases. They can send a technician to a fracking area and be able to do calibration on all the equipment without that technician ever being trained on that. So it's called instant training. So that's a use case. The second use case that they have that I find amazing is that they reduce the cost of training by more than 90%. They can have a worker use this device, record the right process or how to fix something, and then I can play that video back to whoever comes back and fix it. In the case of Honda, which is very specifically, they use this on the transmission line, manufacturing line. And what happened is, it cost them $10,000 to bring a Japanese engineer over. And with these devices, you can see what I see. I can be in China, and you're here in Denver. I'm facing a problem, and you can see the problem with me. That's another use case. Relative to patents, we have patents in the area of augmented reality. But I want you guys to be aware that we use augmented reality as an interface. And we continue to see augmented reality as an interface, and this is how most of these industrial bases are doing. So hopefully that answers your question. Any other questions?
Yes, thank you. Again, very good presentation. You mentioned that in the next year you're looking to expand out of your core 4 verticals. So what verticals are you targeting?
Great question. So, first of all, we have been visited, met, and asked to enter pharma, digital health. So far, we have said no, because we're a small company. It's a tremendous opportunity. And the second one is in construction. Utilities is getting traction for us right now. I'll tell you a little joke. We had to go and increase, I got it good. We have to go and increase our liability insurance just to test our software at a nuclear facility. Okay, thank you very much.
All right, great pitch. All right, so next we are going to bring up the intersection of FDIC banking and your digital assets with free range. Free range. There you guys are. All right. That.
answer, as far as FDIC, we're working on institutions, actually, non-FDIC, I have to be very specific with that. No worries, no worries. To give a little background really on what we're doing. Last year we made a marketing app, and it's blockchain based. You're able to post a video and have questions answered and pay users in cryptocurrency. What's significant about the app that we made is it actually became one of the most popular apps on Ethereum. We actually ended up beating CryptoKitties and daily active users, so that's a little bit of our claim to fame. What we were not expecting was, after this started taking off, unfortunately our bank account was closed. And if you're a company in this industry and you don't have a bank account, you can't pay payroll taxes, for example, you essentially cannot run a business in the United States. And what ended up happening was we got pulled into what Wyoming was doing since last year, and we've all worked together to pass 13 bills up in Wyoming to be able to bank this industry. It's interesting that there's a lot of events going on right now regarding banking digital assets, banking digital asset companies. We just had the House Committee on Financial Services send an open letter to Facebook, earlier this month, asking them to stop with their cryptocurrency project. Why is this so important? 1 out of 4 people on this planet use Facebook. And you can imagine how scary that must be for regulators, especially if an open letter that says that they're worried they will start a new global financial system based out of Switzerland. We have, even Trump a few days ago was tweeting about this and how maybe Facebook should be opening a bank, for example. Anyways, there's a lot of discussion about this, and interestingly enough, here we go. We just got an article in Wired magazine a few weeks ago talking about how our company is first in line to open the first regulated banking institution for digital assets. It's quite simple. Our platform allows institutions, banks, ourselves to manage digital assets on behalf of customers. We do fraud detection. We still have to abide by Bank Secrecy Act, know your customer and money laundering rules. We are audited the way we store digital assets on behalf of our customers and clients, and we are able to offer digital asset lending and exchange services. Why is this, again, significant? Custody. As far as digital asset custody, right now it's about a $30 billion market. We believe we could obtain about $9 billion of that. With digital asset custody, for example, we charge 1% transaction fees. We also charge 5.5% annually on custody for these digital assets. Again, this is becoming a big thing. We even have Fidelity acknowledging that almost half of their institutional investors want to get into digital assets. As far as competitors, we have other competitors such as Coinbase and Bentley. The problem is they don't have a bank charter, and it's believed that the SEC would prefer banks to be custodians of digital assets. As far as technology, it's really important that we keep bad people from entering this system. We have lots of Bitcoin miners coming out of North Korea, out of Iran, and it's important that we're able to track those assets and not allow them to come on board this new type of infrastructure. As far as our relationships go, we have relationships with KPMG and Duff & Phelps, especially in regards to auditing all of our processes, everything that needs to be done in order to custody these digital assets and work with these customers. We also have relationships with our local community college here. And, as far as our team, I'm actually a dentist by trade. Actually did really well. Had everything. Worked 4 days a week, had a multi-million-dollar practice. Group of four doctors, but there was just, it became monotonous after a while. And I needed to do something different. And I ended up getting pulled into a project that's actually quite amazing, and this can be done with an amazing team. Our chief operations officer, Amber, our goal is to do this in a way that's compliant and allows businesses like ours to, again, access the, just have a bank account even. It's really all we need. We just want to pay our employees. That's about it. On last slide, we're doing a $500,000 seed round at the moment for 10% equity. We have about 4 committed investors. We just collected a check from one not too long ago. So that's where we're at. I'm happy to take any questions.
So you have the, is it a marketing app that's up and running now on Ethereum?
We had that. It was one of the most popular apps, but after that, our bank account was closed, and we decided to work on going to the financial industry.
So just talk, how does the technology stack work with what you're going to do going forward? Do you get to leverage nothing that happened from the old app, or are you building this?
Definitely, especially when it comes to tracking digital assets, doing fraud detection, for example. We actually, a lot of the tech that we work with, we have a collaboration with San Diego National Laboratories, doing a lot of tracking digital assets, which is also very important for these types of institutions as well. There's a lot of the technology that we have worked on doesn't actually go through this.
But you still need to build that. This is just an idea. You're in the concept phase in terms of the new application.
We've been in full development mode actually for quite a while. We're looking into applying for a bank charter in Wyoming in October. But in the meantime, there has been a couple of trust companies that are interested in using our platform now for digital asset custody. One of the companies has 1,000 clients and has about $20 billion in assets under management. The other company that we're talking to has 11,000 clients, and we don't know how much they have in assets under management. But they were both interested in using the platform as soon as possible.
There's 2 questions. One is blockchain technology.
We are leveraging blockchain technology, but a lot of the infrastructure actually is traditional infrastructure. So
The second question is, how do you make money?
we make 1% on transaction fees. Let's say a client wants to come in and purchase, let's say, $10 million worth of Bitcoin. We charge 1% on our transactions, and then we charge 25% annually to the customer.
So what keeps a bank from doing this once you guys get clearance? So let's say the wiping lot, so I'll blockchain out here, so we can make a charter. You can actually probably get a charter bank here. We were going to try and open it up. We can talk to Doria, we should. But the thing is, like, there's banks that are now opening up that will accept money in Rockies to basically back these kind of crypto exchange type businesses. So I guess, like, once the regulation rules get kind of passed, the bigger banks can quickly pass those as well. What keeps them from like going into this? Because I believe this is a really good idea. Like a lot of people are going after this, but banks know that this is going to be where people put money as well, so they're going to try to get regulatory clearance as well. So as soon as you do it federally, I'm assuming all the banks are going to try to do this.
I think there's 2 things to that question. For one, what we're actually building, we've always been happy to work with other banks, and we've always proposed that. As far as looking at other banks, just leverage. We'll do the end-to-end justice solution, for example. We'll get banks all the tools to work with their risk officers. We're happy to do that, by the way. But we haven't had any banks that are really interested in stepping forward. Another thing as well is part of what we'd be applying for in Wyoming is non-FDIC institutions. So we actually won't be lending out any fiat as well. So it actually makes it a lot easier. It's sort of a different business model from what traditional banks usually use.
So basically, you would hold all the deposits, so you wouldn't be lending out the money you take in on the deposits.
According to the banking rules in Wyoming for this, we wouldn't be able to lend out fiat. We actually wouldn't be able to lend out digital assets.
So you'd be able to do like what Salt's doing, lend out digital assets.
We're more than happy just to work with third-party providers on that as well. We're happy more to focus on all the regulatory issues. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Joe and Amber. Great pitch. So now the pitch you have all been waiting for. Where did you go? Dave does this so much better than I do. Okay, so now, helping students using AI, community support, we've got Inscribe.
We can do this. You're almost to food, I promise. You can get a drink in just a minute. My name is Ana Hernandez. I'm one of the co-founders and the COO of Inscribe. Inscribe is a system that leverages the power of community and artificial intelligence to connect students to the answers, people, and resources that they need to be successful. So today, as you know, students rely on experts throughout their educational journey. So from the time they enroll, through onboarding, classroom support, and into their career development. But unfortunately, the current system is incredibly expensive, inefficient, and not always that effective. It really relies on one-on-one interaction. So students sending emails, we've had instructors tell us they'll get up to 100 emails on the same question in a single term. It's not very convenient for instructors. It's not convenient for the students. And they're spending close to a little over $12,000 per student per year, which has increased 30% in the last 15 years. And if you follow the news at all, you're seeing that schools are starting to shut down. So this is a real expensive problem, and one of the things that experts are starting to agree on is that it's because the current system isn't really taking advantage of economies of scale and getting the students the way that they want to be reached. So what we're doing is increasing the availability and efficiency of student support without institutions having to hire additional resources. So the way that we do that is by connecting students in communities with their peers, with experts, and instead of asking an individual question, they're posting it to the community where their peers can answer or experts can answer. And then those high-value answers and questions are stored in a searchable knowledge repository. Now, we really believe that humans are important, but we are also leveraging artificial intelligence to make this more efficient. So really, we're doing that around moderation. So when all the questions come in or the answers come in, they're checked for sentiment analysis and natural language processing that allows us to escalate issues that may need individual attention that I was talking about that's so expensive. Sometimes students really need it, and this helps instructors identify that more easily. We're also planning to build some proprietary AI that helps the system learn what makes a good question and a good answer and better serve that to students. So over time, institutions are building a shared knowledge repository that can connect across all their communities, across different semesters, which is not currently available, helping them create those economies of scale that they're missing today. One of the ways that we've done this really effectively is with Arizona State University. They put us in their freshman year math course, so all their freshmen come in, they access Inscribe to ask their questions, and in 2 years they were able to decrease their support costs for this course by 40%, while at the same time increasing the completion rate for that washout course by 20 percentage points. This is huge for them. It's a lot of students in school that normally would fail after freshman math. On the market front, today we're really targeting the American higher education space, really student success market, so it's a $1 billion market. We do think this is obviously not a problem that's unique to education. So corporate learning has the same problem, international has the same problem, and we really think that this tool can address that. Right now we're just focused on U.S. higher ed. From a business model perspective, we do sell at an institutional level, so we're not going instructor by instructor, which is a more traditional model in education. We typically start with a pilot, and then we have a land and expand model. So we'll come in, do a short pilot. First year contract tends to be about $30,000 annual recurring revenue, expanding to $50,000 to $80,000 in subsequent years. So again, with ASU, an example with them, we started with them in 2016. They were our pilot customer, $20,000 pilot. Over the years, that's increased, and in 2019, we should do a little bit over $100,000 with them. We've got some great traction. In addition to ASU, we're partnering with other universities. We're also really excited about our channel customer partnerships that we started opening up this year. We're working with other education technology companies and leveraging their sales force as well and getting our product embedded into their products. What's really nice about this is there's some great exit strategy in here as well. Wiley, for example, who's one of our current partners, has done 3 acquisitions in the past 18 months. And there's a lot of other space in here as well that we think that have a compelling offering for some of these companies. On the revenue front, we currently have a monthly recurring revenue of $37,000. We plan to do a little under $500,000 this year. We've already booked $440,000, so we may adjust that up as we go. And then we see that climbing really through that SaaS revenue model. So it is a recurring model. It's very low cost to scale for us, but can grow rather quickly. On the competitive landscape, as I said before, traditionally schools get targeted on an instructor by instructor basis. There are some other competitors in this space. Our leadership team has been working in the education space pretty much our entire career. Most of us have over 20 years in that space. We've developed software that has delivered to over 5 million students a year and was highlighted in Fast Company's top 100 most innovative education companies. So I really understand this space and really know what it takes to get a product to market. We're currently raising an $800,000 seed round. We've closed 200 of that. We're going to focus on that to further our AI development, and we've done a good job the last couple of years understanding who our target sales is. So we want to spend a lot of that in sales and marketing, as I said, because it's SaaS. Our cost to add customers is pretty low. So if we can, put more salespeople into the chain, we can really expand our monthly recurring revenue. We think we can get up to 110,000 MRR. Now we have a favorite slide. And I'm open to any questions. Thank you.
What would the partnership with Wiley look like? So they make the book and then you come.
Yeah, so they actually have a lot of online technology now. So one of the companies that they bought recently, their goal is to help other institutions take their programs online. So they'll go into a traditional school that doesn't have an online program, and then they give them like services and technology to help them do that. So we're integrating with them like we would with an institution. So in that case, we're going in and helping their support staff support like the onboarding process. It's something they have a lot of test prep things as well. So we're talking to them about integrating with their testing group as well. So they have a lot of education online, so we're just integrating with that.
Can you explain the business model of FTE? Is that the
It's an enrollment. I know it's a little education jargon for
those
you.
are students?
Yes, so that's a student enrollment, yeah. Full-time enrollment is that what it stands for? People. This is my co-founder, Katie. She's my phone a friend. If I have a question, I can answer. Yes, it's students. So it's per student per year, and then it's sort of an all-you-can-eat once they're in there. So they get the community. Students can be in multiple communities.
Okay.
Once they're kind of in the system, they don't have to, they're not paying for like each additional community that they add.
And then, did you think about doing this in vocational education versus just having a bias in how hard it has been to make money in,
Well,
secondary education?
it's very content agnostic. So we can, really expand what our current sales channels have been, just the institutions that we've known and been able to get into more readily that have online programs. But there's no reason that you couldn't use it to support STEM, vocational ed, really anywhere that students are learning, we can integrate so that we can help, meet where they are when they have a question.
I've got a question about that. You talked about potentially what you're going to do with some investment. Part of that is maybe as more sales folks out there. I'd like to hear about your strategy there. Because it seems to me, I think we've found a real problem in higher ed rather than ed. But it seems to me that it's not the ASUs of the world that are hurting in higher ed, right? It's sort of the secondary market of the arts colleges, right, that are really hurting in this space. And it seems to me that maybe they're a little tougher to market to because they have less students. So have you thought about that? What's your strategy?
I'm going to hand over to my salesperson.
So I don't know if you saw, there was news today about the University of Alaska.
Yes.
It's basically like about to shut down because they got a huge budget cut. So even an institution of that size, obviously not maybe the same size scale of ASU, but traditional universities of that nature are feeling this pressure as well. We also are, so I think the idea that it's just the small liberal arts colleges that are going to feel the pain is, that's just going to be relevant for the next maybe month or so before it really starts impacting other folks as well. We also do a lot of work with more of the fully online programs who are also kind of feeling the pinch and looking for opportunities to scale. They feel the pinch for some other reasons like regulations and things which are kind of pushing them. But they also find that the scalability of their systems and their ability to serve more students more effectively is really important.
Are you doing your own development for AI or are you outsourcing that?
So it's a mix. So we're leveraging where we can, where other people have already built it. We don't want to rebuild. So like in the case of sentiment analysis, we're leveraging some work that Amazon did. And we're really only building it where it makes sense for our IP. Otherwise, we just want to integrate things that other folks have built. And then we're using our internal development team to do all of that.
So the Amazon open space, or are you buying it?
So we're using Amazon Comprehend.
Yeah.
So we do pay for that, but it's very, as most Amazon things are, it's very cost.
Yeah.
is, because it's.
Yeah, we have a Slack integration, so we can use Slack, but it's typically, we want it to look like where the student's learning. So in some cases, it's an embedded widget on their learning management system page. Sometimes it sort of depends. It's not a custom, we don't customize it for each person, that would be way too expensive. But we have lots of widgets that they can embed in their current learning experience, so it doesn't feel really foreign. We know we've worked in education forever. If you make students go somewhere else, or if it feels disjointed, they'll never go back.
Okay, so here's what everybody's job is. You guys, 1 through 4. We've got a secret room over there. Go over, say whatever you need. It'll be the cone of silence. So that's your job. Rank those companies 1 to 4. Now, the rest of you have a job too. See that door over there? Your job is not to go through that. I'd like you to stay here and recognize those winners. You can grab more beer or wine. We have a taco or two right back there.
Eat some food, please. We got a lot of extra food.
So do that. We'll chain up the doors. These guys are off to work together. All right. So